Something that's really cool that I think every lawyer should be doing, because there's a lot of lawyers that are like, okay, so I want to do these webinars and I want to do all this stuff, but I don't have a big audience, and like I don't know a lot of, I don't really have I don't have any list, because for guys like us, it's pretty easy to fill one of these things up because we run a lot of ads, we have a lot of email addresses, but you can do this if you don't have a list at all. And the way that I've been teaching lawyers how to do this is really the same strategy that I use. What I do is I'll typically try to partner up with other or sometimes, like you even said, even competing businesses. I mean, technically you and I are in a competing business, but I mean, I kind of look at it as
mindset.
Well, you know what it is? It's a rising, what is it? A rising tide raises all ships, I think they say, so, but the reality is that you can find businesses that complement your law firm that either do compete or don't compete with you, and you can team up with them. So like, for example, if you're a family law attorney, maybe you can get, a real estate attorney and like a therapist and like a few different people and like a criminal defense attorney. And you guys can basically all do a joint Q&A where people can go on and ask questions. And the way you can promote it, if you don't actually have your own list or anything, what you can do is you can basically go on your personal page and you can say, hey, everybody, just want to let you know, as you guys know, I'm a family law attorney or I'm a criminal defense attorney, and I'm getting all kinds of questions about child custody and child support. And, what do I do for domestic violence issues? We've had a couple of, situations like that. So rather than just helping individual people, I decided to get a couple, other people. Like we've got a criminal defense attorney, we've got a therapist, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a live Q&A. So please share that, here's the link. You can register for it. It's completely free. You can come on, you can get all of your questions answered, and then, share it with anybody that you think might be interested. We can help anybody in the entire state. So anybody that, that has questions about all these things, share it. And what'll happen is people will start sharing it if they think it's valuable. And then you'll end up with a couple hundred people on there. And if you do that, and then everyone else does the same thing and also promotes to their audience, then you're getting in front of people that you never would have gotten in front of. So like last week I did a webinar with Nick from Answering Legal. So we both promoted it. We had about 1,000 people register, and it was split down the middle. About 500 people from my list joined, and about 500 people from his list joined. So he got in front of 500 people he got exposed to 500 people from my audience, and I got exposed to 500 people from his audience, and it benefited both of us. So if you can do that, and that's the same thing that, with Michael and I, Michael promoted to his audience and I promoted to my audience. And now we've got a mixture of both of our audiences on here. So you can work, there's creative ways that you can work with complementary businesses and do live webinars and live, dial-ins and stuff like that. And honestly, everyone in the last 3 weeks has really gotten used to Zoom. I'm really killing myself that I didn't buy Zoom stock like a month ago, but what are you going to do? But, now everybody's used to Zoom, and setting up a webinar on Zoom is super easy. And it's even easier to run Facebook ads to it if you wanted to promote it a little bit also. So there's just a lot of ways that you can do that. And these types of things will paint you as an authority also. And they make it so that people, cause a lot of times authority is based on kind of how people receive information. So if you're talking to a group of, even if it's 50 people, even if it's 25 people, it doesn't matter. If you're talking and a bunch of people are asking you questions and you're providing good answers, then you're going to be perceived as an authority, and it will benefit you, and you can just keep doing them, and it'll work out for you.
Yeah, and I think there's a value in establishing goodwill right now. I mean, for example, you look at it just as an example. Last week, and then you're still seeing this into this week. There's obviously the Paycheck Protection Program, like that, those PPP loans. That there's a lot of confusion around. And last week we brought on a financial advisor, but firms can do this as well. You can bring on an expert in a particular area to speak to a topic that is of great interest to people. And it doesn't mean that they have to become a client right after that. I think that the most important thing is that you're being helpful and beneficial, and that they're tuning in, because we will come out of this, at some point, and it's how do you want to be remembered? We're going to see many businesses that essentially stuck their heads in the sand and were absent from this whole thing. And there were others that laid off 75% of their staff 1 week into this whole situation, while there were others that stepped up and leaded and provided great, not only great content for their clients and for their communities, but also were just contributing, and they're going to come out as better businesses. So as much as we'll talk about marketing, the other thing that I think is worth paying attention to, because the thing we often hear from business owners is truly two things. One, they don't have time, right? So they don't have time to focus on making improvements in the business. So things like auditing intake, automation, processes. And then the other one is, it's hard to find good people. So we're entering one of the most plentiful job markets, probably in at least the last decade. So both of those problems are solved. So you really don't have any excuse at this point, for not improving during this time.